And I'm Elder Shane Neal.
And
we're the hosts of Hour of Power. We are ready.
Lord, I want to be your vessel. Give me the means to save someone today.
Hi Jonas! Really big day today, no?
Kind of. I tend to be a little tense in these missions.
Really? Do you know that you can use social media to be a missionary? Do you know Adventist teams?
Adventist teams? What is that?
Well, wait a second. I'm gonna send you an invite to be in my team.
Okay. What should I do now?
Well, you download the app, register, and you're ready to start using it. It's really simple. Adventist Teams is a digital missionary community where you can find the best content to share with your friends.
Oh, nice. Look, my friend needs some hope. Where can I find something about that in the app?
Right here on tags.
and welcome to another live edition of your number one health show for the week, Defining Your Health, here on the Adventist Television Network. I am your host, Chantel Neal, and with me today is beautiful Miss Aislinn
Murillo.
It is indeed a pleasure to have you once again, Miss Aislinn. And we are always elated when she's in our presence because we know when she's here, she has a wealth of information to share with us. Do you have a little one at home? Are you panicked about going back to school, sending them back to school? Are you a teacher? Are you a school warden? Well, today we have a very interesting discussion for you. Entitled Back to School Anxiety During the Pandemic. And let me tell you, we are still in a pandemic, so the discussion is relevant for today. Again, we are live, so we want for you to join in the conversation. Put your comments in the comment section, and let's have a wonderful time today. Miss Aislinn, how are you?
I am doing quite fine. A little tired, but I'm doing good.
You're good. Well, Miss Aislinn is a school counselor here in our Adventist organization. I want her to share with us a little bit about what is life like as a school counselor.
Well, I just started out for a short time, but I'm going to go in full-fledged now. But my first couple the experience that I had when I started in the high school, it was I don't know if I was ready for it, but nevertheless, I'm always ready for a challenge. I experienced a lot of children with anxiety, and not only anxiety, but a lot of grief.
Yes.
Children losing parents, children losing family members, something that was very dear to them, and it played a big role. One child came crying to me because she could not focus in class, and her tears just start running down. Who did she had to talk to? Nobody. So the teacher was a bit concerned and rushed her straight across to my office, and that's when we sat and we had some conversations. And every now and then I will check on her, to make sure that she was doing okay.
Wonderful. One of the benefits of having a school counselor on campus, it's something that our organization is working, trying to put into play. We do have a shortage of school counselors. I'd wish that each one of our schools would have a counselor as it should be. But I'm happy that Miss Aislinn has taken on the task of rotating herself weekly around CBM, Central Belize Mission, to be there as a form of support to our teachers and our students. I want you to know that the focus of our discussion today is geared towards our teachers and our students, because going back to school does provide or does bring up some form of anxiety, and even for parents. I'm a parent. I'm a mom of two, a 7-year-old and a 4-year-old who's just starting. So can you imagine my anxiety? We're not gonna go there. Miss Aislinn, before we move on, what's one of the benefits of being a school counselor?
Well, you get to meet children from all different walks of life. You get to be someone that children can depend on.
Okay.
And they see you as this person that can comfort them. And so you get to have a world of maybe someone that the child can look up to. They run to you like they would run to a parent or a teacher. And so it's a big hat to wear.
I feel like it's a step up from just that regular friendship.
Right.
Going back to the topic now, back to school anxiety during COVID-19, ways to support our children mental health this school year. When we think about kids and anxiety and mental health, what do we think of? Because I don't think a lot of times these three goes together. A lot of times we look at the kid as someone who's just around, who's just going from in their own world, in their own bubble, as we would say, but we never associate them with being anxious or having to care about their mental health? Speak on that a little bit for us.
The first thing we would do to a child that comes with these anxiety would tell them, "No hurry, everything will be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be okay. Just sit down and go play or go do something." And so we minimize that the child is actually going through something. But then if we don't validate their experience, they're going to go into a different dementia, because they would start either acting out and be that bullying class. They would become silent. They would withdraw. They would start, if the child was a very bright student, they would start getting bad grades, or they would just start. There are different other mediums that these children can walk into.
So I'm glad that you said that, because a lot of times when children behave this way, we just saying, oh, they're trying to be rude.
Right.
They're just rude, and they just want to be, what's the word, naughty, or
Right.
or
Deviant.
yes, and maybe even demon possessed.
Right.
As I would say, just to my two at times, we have a demon or something. But as you clearly said, sometimes their behavior stems from being anxious,
Right.
or stems from, us not taking their mental health seriously, or taking their concerns seriously.
Children are very resilient, and especially when they know that you have for them back.
Okay.
When they know that, okay, mommy will listen to me, or mommy care about my concern, they could achieve the world of things. But when we minimize their what they are thinking,
Yes.
or what they are feeling, that's when we send them elsewhere.
Yes. And so, for myself as a parent and yourself as a counselor, we have to be very, very mindful of our children, very vigilant, when they go quiet. I was telling Miss Aislinn before we started that the oldest, Sean, he's 7. He has moments where he would go quiet. You just don't hear him speaking. And I would ask, Sean, what are you thinking of? What are you thinking about? And when he would answer, his answer would be, it would be so far from what I would think he was thinking of. And it just helps us as parents to understand that your child is not just there. Your child is not a robot. Your child is not there as in his own world, in a bubble. These children see things, they hear us speaking, and they have feelings.
Right. Imagine you having anxiety, and you go to your friend, and you tell your friend or your ma, I'm having anxiety, and your ma tell you, go sit down, so go read a book, or go take a shower. Imagine how you would feel.
As adults,
As
we
an
get
adult,
anxious,
as an adult.
and we want to jump off a cliff sometimes.
Right. So
what do you
imagine a child being anxious about something.
Yeah.
It's because there's something triggering that anxiousness, and
Yes.
what you need to do is to get to the bottom of why they're feeling that way. Maybe it's just something that you were being anxious about, that they're anxious about, so it deflects on them. So we have to just
Yes,
find out where the
definitely.
root cause of it is coming from.
For our viewers at home who are watching this program at this time, I want you to put in the comment section some signs of a child being anxious. I know Miss Aislinn mentioned a few just a minute ago, and I want for you to think about others that you could pinpoint, or others that you could say, yes, this could be a sign. Put it in the comment section. Like I said, I want for you to be a part of this discussion today. Now, going back to school, Miss Aislinn, that's another level of anxiety.
Yes.
I'm anxious about sending my 4-year-old. What do I can't keep them home forever as parents.
Right.
We can't keep them home forever. They have to go out. They have to experience life. They have to be out there,
Right.
It's all a part of life, Back to school. When we think about going back to school, coming out of a pandemic or still in a pandemic, what are some parents' fears. What are some parents or students' fears? What are some fears you can think of?
One might be that their child won't fit in. One, how are they going to cope by themselves because they're already used. Mommy, help me with this.
Yeah.
And now you're like, is the teacher going to help them? Am I going to have to stay and help them with it? Are they going to make it through that day without me? By them or their babysitter or somebody, you know. So that's one of the fear. And I would say how they would cope with the information of learning 1 plus 1. How is my baby going to learn
Yeah, you're
one
right.
plus one? That seems too big for them.
Yes.
But these children are sponges. They could get these information so rapidly. We just have to make sure that we're helping them and encouraging them and validating them as we're going along the way.
Yes, I think another fear would be, would my child make friends? Because remember, online they were online for a whole year, basically off and on, and so they didn't get the chance to really see somebody there physically. Well, online you get to see the teacher, but you're not there. It's all virtual. The whole class is virtual, so you don't really get to socialize, or so your child may have some kind of.
I think for you, one of your fears right now is the fact that you were the one that had to help the 4-year-old with his work because they were just getting packages. So now, how is he going to cope with that teacher? And actually going through each subject for an entire day? Because first day I used to have that span of time to get the work done, but now, okay, is he going to make it through that 40 minutes with math and then go through to language arts?
Yeah.
So I think that's where your fear is coming in right there.
It sure is. What would a fear be for teachers? What would a fear be for teachers? We talk about the student just now, but for the teacher, going back to school full time, all this is all day, just like regular. What would that fear be for a teacher?
I believe it's coping with going all day.
Yeah.
Because first they used to have that moment where they can breathe and then move on into the next day, prepare for the next day. Now everything is just coming on them, and then dealing with children coming with all these baggages at school. Then, of course, children that come without food, and so they have a whole pile of things just bubbling over for them.
Shorter attention span.
And the shorter attention
how would a teacher keep up with now having kids who are so used to you being online, putting up little videos, little cards, and keeping them on task and all of that, and now you're in classroom? How would you keep up with that?
I think the teachers need to learn how to do gymnastics because they have to entertain these kids in order to keep them, because TikTok is 15 seconds long.
Wow. We have to pray for our teachers,
You imagine 15 seconds long and we learn a concept.
Wow.
The way how people put it on TikTok, and now teachers have to now cope with that. Compete with that medium.
So if you're a teacher who's used to chalk and talk, sis,
no,
sis or brother, you will have a hard time this school year because the children from 2 years ago, that's through the door. You have to be, more into your classes and bringing more. So it creates more anxiety for the teachers now because they have to be doing more than what they were doing before. So Ms. Aislinn, I know that you're a counselor for students, but let me tell you, you'll have to open the doors for teachers as well. And I want for you to share a little bit. I'm not sure if you've counseled a teacher before, but what would that experience be like for you?
I actually have not counseled a teacher. I know people just come. I'm used to just my friends coming to have a conversation with me, but the teacher with a real problem, I have not met that one as yet. But I sure know that it's going to happen.
Definitely.
It's
Definitely.
not only that, parents as well. Because usually when you counsel with children at primary school level, you will
Parents are present.
parents
Okay.
at certain
Certain.
point,
Yeah.
parents will have to intervene. They will have to come in and sit and be a part of that counseling session.
Yeah. I think it would be a wonderful thing for us to be able to have counselors for our teachers, because they're with a group of 15 to 20, 25 children now for all day, and to be keeping up with so much personalities is no joke. I used to be a teacher when I was saying a few years ago, but after 5 years, I that card I put away. I'm in a different.
I was a teacher for 7 years.
When you were saying, right?
I was a teacher. Wow.
But we're laughing at it, but it's a serious thing. Our
Yes.
teachers are going back, and our teachers will need our prayers, serious prayers, because now they have to be working at a different capacity,
Right.
To be able to guide our children along. The children as well will need prayers, because they would have to adjust so many things, some which would be social skills, friendship breakdown,
Right.
the fear of failure, and the fear, also grief. Some children are coming back without parents.
Right.
They lost their parents during the pandemic. So even that they have to cope with. First, they used to have mommy and daddy bringing them to
Right.
school, but now it's grandma or auntie who has taken up that role. So
Last night while I was thinking about the topic in depth, my brain went to this thought where some students would actually become bullies because they're seeing other students, parents bringing them to
yeah,
school.
and at first their school picture,
And then
all
you
that.
won't understand why this child is acting out, and they would just not like this student for no reason at all. And then when you dig deeper, you will realize, oh, that child lost some parent, and then that parent is bringing you to school, and then
Yeah.
me wishing or hoping that mine would do so.
Same.
So we need to. There's a lot of small little details of things that we need to focus on, which teachers don't have all that eyes to see. But there's a lot that we need to cue in on, because students will act out when they lose appearance, because that's like a coping mechanism for them.
Of course. And there again, you see the benefits, another benefit of having a school counselor on campus, because the teacher is so occupied running around trying to get the lesson plans and the classes and everything
Right.
together. The counselor is not that occupied with all those things. So you have time, your eyes are available to see, who needs a little time, who needs a little, and you're open, you're not busy, you're open to give that child the amount of time he or she needs to get a little, counseling session.
Thinking about that, what you said just now, maybe they need to incorporate a little body, mind, and soul activity within their within their lessons, where the students would take deep breaths.
Okay.
And then you allow them to relax for a moment, not to divert from the lesson any at all,
Yeah.
but to incorporate, like put in forgiveness. Like said, okay, the word for today will be forgiveness. What is forgiveness? Maybe that's going to help a child.
Yeah.
You never know. So you have to connect them with what's really happening in order for them to know how to move on.
Yeah.
Because we think that it's okay. I mean, you have a loss. You have a loss. Okay. So then maybe not because the child is 4 years old or 6 years old, it doesn't mean that they don't need to see a counselor.
Yeah.
They would need to see a counselor.
Of course.
You need to help them to understand what happened. Okay. For example, I know it's normal for people to die. But when it's my people, it's not normal.
Yeah.
So for a child, okay, somebody dead for you. Oh, that's sad. But when it's my people, then that's not okay. Your world turned upside down and things change.
I feel like there's a kind of disconnect when it comes to teaching the lesson and connecting it to the human aspect.
Right.
You know, being a teacher, as before, like I said, you're so excited about your lesson that you forget that the child we're supposed to take in this lesson. In order for him or her to learn what you're trying to teach, you have to get past that anxiety, whatever it may be.
Right.
You know, before you could start to execute your lesson. You know, but we get in the classroom and we go straight to 1 + 1, and then we forget that the child in the corner want to eat yet, or maybe the child that may came in with a little bit of, you know, uneasiness in the morning. You know, we kind of overlook that child, and these anxiety, it reflects from anxiety start to come out, portray itself. Then we say the child is rude, or just want to disrupt the class, get outside, wait at the window. You know, so we have to be very, very vigilant as teachers and as school counselors, you know, because the goal is to help the child. And you're not only helping the child intellectually, but you have to help the child emotionally as well.
You never know what you can do to a child that is being acting out when you take the time to find out why they're acting out.
Yes.
Sometimes you get children that are rude, they do body in a class, and then you take the time. That child could be the valedictorian. They have some of these kids are not, they're not how to say it? I lost my thought just now. Some of these kids are not just not doing good in school because, but there are other aspects, other things, other elements that are affecting them. So we need to get to that point where we actually take the child and say, listen, what's going on?
Yeah.
Did you eat? Is something happening at home? And you ask them these ton-load of questions, and you will finally reach to one of the questions that will touch them, and they will start to tear up, and then that's where you know that you need to start from.
Yeah. Right. I think we had a hearty discussion there, but I want to move on a little bit to talk about what are some signs that can tell us that a child is being anxious about school. Remember, next week, bright and early, everybody goes back to school. I know the sixth formers is already in, the high schoolers are very in, and now the primary schoolers, the little ones, and
kindergarten,
they all go back to school. So, you know, everybody, full force will be out. The teachers at this time are preparing their classrooms, they're getting everything together, and the children are back in. Now, we want to talk a little bit about what are some signs that your child is being anxious about school. We have an article here that says disturbance in sleep.
Yep.
That was new to me. Like, I didn't think that could be a sign.
Sleep.
But let's not overlook it.
No, but people that do have anxiety, sleep is taken away from them. Because your brain is running at 100 miles per hour, thinking about bomb rushed with 1,000 thoughts.
Yeah.
How could you lay down and sleep? So they sleep right. So it happens
for
the
kids.
same way it happens for adults. It happens for
What's
kids.
another sign that we could pinpoint that child is anxious about?
Loss of concentration is another one.
Okay.
That you will notice that the child will not be so focused anymore, and they will be doing everything else except doing what they should be doing.
Yeah.
So that's one. Then you'll have the physical symptoms that you can see, where head the hurt, it feel dizzy, it feel like you want to vomit, study want to go to the bathroom, it feel weak, everything start to hurt.
Loss of appetite.
Loss of appetite, not being able to eat.
And then the obvious ones will be total refusal. I don't want to go to school. I'm afraid I don't want to go to school. And
They throw tantrum,
yeah,
they cry, they feel sad.
it doesn't have to be, when the child say that, it doesn't have to be that there's something happening at school.
Right.
In most cases,
Right.
there is something happening in the classroom, or maybe there's a bully. But remember in the pandemic, the kids weren't in the classroom. So I think as parents, one thing that we can do, and we're going to talk more about this when we return, is, to go there. Maybe this week would be the perfect time for you to go to school with the child, have him or her be introduced to the teacher, be in the classroom, just be around for him or her to get used to,
right,
being in the classroom. And then next week, because most of the time we only go when the school is open, dash in there, that's it. Run around, look back, I hope that nobody let it cry. But there are some pre-work that we can do to help the child along to overcome anxiety.
You start preparing them from now.
Yes.
Telling them school is going to start. You're going to leave and you're going to go to school at this time. You're going to come back home at this time. And this is what it's going to look like. And you have to talk these kids through these processes for them to be able to be ready without all these anxiety.
Yeah, and it would be a lot less stress. So one thing that I'm doing, I am prepping. I'm doing a lot of prepping. So the morning is not a rush to go out, because you have to have all those uniforms, everything together, ready. Have them, it's not a panic in the morning to get out.
Right.
Have everything ready. But we're going to talk more about this when we return. Some signs, again, we want to repeat: disturbances in sleep, increased defiance and irritability, lack of concentration, like you said, less energy, loss of appetite, physical symptoms like nausea, muscle tension, or dizziness, outright refusal to go to school, sadness, or crying. So look out for these signs, parents. If you have a child at home who's getting ready to go back to school, maybe he or she is anxious. It does not have to be a high schooler, but the little ones, do not underestimate how deep they're thinking. The little ones, they get anxious too. What do we do when they get anxious? Do we brush them off? We tell them to go play, or you don't have to worry about that. Or think they do worry. They do worry. Let us as parents, as teachers, as counselors, be mindful of our children. They're little humans too. And they're growing, and what we instill in them is how they will grow up. So we have to be very, very careful that we don't break them down, but we build them up instead of breaking them down. We're going to take a pause here. When we come back, the discussion continues. I hope that you're enjoying the discussion. If you are, put it in the comment section. Just so that we could say a hi or a hello to you. This is a live program today, so we're live here at the studio. So we'll take a break now, Miss Aislinn. When we return, we will have more on this topic.
Hi, I'm Pastor Emiliano Viamel.
And I'm Elder Shane Neal.
And
we're the hosts of Hour of Power. We are ready to pray for you and with you.
Prayer is the key that unlocks heaven's door. In Philippians 4, 6, and 7, God cautions us not to be anxious about anything.
Instead, in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus.
Join us every Thursday night at 6 p.m. on our Facebook and YouTube pages, as well as Channel 98 on Central Cable TV, to experience this peace that passeth all understanding. You can join our global prayer family by praying that God continues to lead and bless this ministry.
By becoming a faithful viewer and inviting your friends and family to like and share our programs.
With your kind donations as well as your generous financial contributions.
Contact us at 501-613-9351.
Or send us an email at atn@cbn.belizeunion.org.
We are located at 10 and 3/4 miles Northern Highway at the Tubal Trade and Vocational Institute. Thank you for being a part of the ATN ministry.
And we pray God's richest blessings upon you and your family.
According to the Center for Disease Control, men die on average 5 years earlier than women. While women are expected to live an average of 81 years at birth, men are expected to live an average of 76 years. With non-Hispanic blacks having the lowest life expectancy at nearly 71 years compared to white and Hispanic males. That's a fact, but there's hope. One of the factors contributing to worse health in men is the higher prevalence of cigarette smoking among males than among females at any age. By quitting the habit, males can reduce their chances of dying from any cause and experience a longer and happier life. So don't delay, quit today.
Understand our youth and the challenges they face?
Are we truly listening to what they're saying or even care about how they feel?
Youth Come Alive is a new and innovative program where we discuss issues that matter, such as spirituality, sexuality, relationships, addictions, careers, and so much more.
Join us on Tuesdays at 6 p.m. on all our streaming platforms.
Youth Come Alive, a program for youth.
Hi, I'm Pastor Elardo Davis.
I'm Pastor Denny McCullough.
We are the hosts of your Bible study series, Words of Wisdom. In 2 Timothy 3:16, God reminds us that all scripture is given by inspiration of God and is profitable for doctrine, for reproof,
for correction, and for instruction in righteousness.
Words of Wisdom is a specially designed program brought to you by ATN in an effort to share the Advent message to our friends and faithful viewers who are yearning to build a growing and saving relationship with Jesus Christ. If you want to learn more about our rich Adventist heritage, basic fundamental beliefs, counsel on courtship and marriage,
or simply a deeper study of God's written word, then join us Wednesday mornings at 10 a.m. on our Facebook and YouTube pages, as well as Channel 98 on Central TV. Join in and be a part of this special Bible studies effort by praying that God continues to lead and bless this ministry, by becoming a faithful viewer and inviting your friends and family to like and share our programs, by your kind donations and of course your generous financial contributions. Contact us at 416139351 or send us an email at atn@cbm.belizeunion.org. We are located at 10 and 3/4 miles Philip Golson Highway. Thank you for being a part of the ATN ministry. It is our prayer that you will keep the book of the law always on your lips.
meditate on it day and night, that thou mayest observe to do according to that which is written therein. Then thou shalt make thy way prosperous and have good success.
Back to our program for today. You are watching the Adventist Television Network, and this is Defining Your Health. We've been having a wonderful discussion, and today our topic is back to school anxiety. I'm here today not alone, but I'm sitting with Miss Aislinn Murillo, who's a school teacher here in our SDA organization. And we've been chit-chatting a little bit about what are some of the anxieties our parents, our teachers, and our students are facing at this time as they're getting ready to go back to school. We want to move on a little bit in the discussion, though. We want to talk a little bit about how we could support. We've spoken about what are signs. We've spoken about how children become anxious or why they become anxious. And now we want to talk about the support aspect. You know, that's the most important part. I know we had started before we went to break. We were talking about preparing a routine, helping our children with routines to help them not to be anxious. Talk a little bit about that for us.
It is difficult to create a routine and a whole for yourself. So imagine adding another human being in their routine. But children they're little adults, like I would call them. They're little adults, and they want to know that they are also involved. They're involved in their process of growing up. I mean, there are certain decisions that they won't be making for themselves, but they're simple as, okay, what color shoe do you want to wear today? That's a part of their being involved in the routine that you're preparing for them. Maybe you can make a chart that color codes, okay, this is what we do for today. Maybe the snack for these 2 days will be fruits only. And then the one for these other days will be that. And then this day you get to purchase something on your own. When the child feel involved in their growth, they tend to get this independence, and they're, okay, mommy, I got it. And then you realize that you don't have to worry too much about them because you know that you already put them in this routine that they can be able to support, not support themselves, but teach. Because they would go and say, you know something, on this day, Monday, my mommy give me money so I could buy my snacks. But tomorrow, she's going to prepare it. And then the next child going home and say, Ma, you know, Sean, mommy he bring money this day, and then tomorrow she prepare the snack. So when you teach a child something, they also give a child a routine or something to look forward to. They teach their friends, and it helps.
Speaking from a parent aspect, I think anxiety comes in that morning, that first morning when there's a rush. The getting out of the house. A lot of time the anxiety is developed from there. If we could minimize as parents that part, if we could minimize the anxiety there, when the child gets to school, it's a different effect.
Right.
You know, if we have to be pushing them and, you know, harassing them in the morning for them to get the uniform on, get the shoes on, get the snacks ready, get everything ready, it is a panic. So for parents, not to cut you across, but for a parent, one of my things that I'm getting into the hang of doing is prepping. I prep from the night. I make sure the uniform is ready, make sure the snack bags are ready, everything is ready. You know, so the morning is easier. You know, they wake up, they take a little shower. It's not a panic rush. You know, and like I said, if we could minimize the panic rush in the morning, the child have a whole better experience going to school, because you know they're calm. You drop them off, you explain to them, okay, for the little ones, the older ones they're fine, but the little ones, you know, you have to talk them through what will happen. I want you to talk to us a little bit, because I know you shared with us that you have a little nephew that you have to talk through everything, and this is necessary. Children aren't animals. Right. And it sounds hard to me to say they're not animals. And even the animals you could speak to gently, but sometimes we handle the children like they're animals, like they don't have no kind of sense, no kind of understanding. They do. Right. They do. So we have to take our time with them. Share with us that talking process.
So I have a little nephew. He's like 1.5, thereabout. And for when you're taking him anywhere, you got to tell him where you're taking him, or else he would act as if though the world is coming down. And so you're taking him to the clinic, you got to make him know, listen, Theodore, you're going to the clinic. And this is what's going to happen when you get to the clinic. He's not understanding the process, but you're talking to him and he know that he going somewhere and something will happen, because he can feel that something is going to happen. And then, for example, when he was living in, he was in Guyana because that's where my brother is out studying. When he was about to leave Guyana, weeks prior to him leaving, his mom had to keep on telling him, listen, Theodore, we're going to go on a plane and we're going to go to grandma in Belize. You're not going to see daddy for a long time, but you're going to talk to him on the video chat. So we're going to leave. So he knew that he was going to move from this home and go to another home.
It might sound redundant. It might sound like, oh, that's not necessary, but it
Right.
is.
It's very helpful.
It is. And even the questions, they ask questions. Let's not brush them off.
Right.
Or just say, ask too much question. And even if they're asking too much questions, we have to find the proper wording or a nice way for us to say, I'll answer at a later time, or I don't know the answer, you know? So the first one here on our list, how we could help support our children as they're going back to school, validate and listen to any concerns.
Right.
You know, and
like I mentioned earlier,
nothing better than for you to listen.
Right.
Listen to the child. Go ahead.
Like I mentioned earlier, children are resilient. Once you validate what they're thinking, their ideas, their thoughts, their feelings, what they would win you to win the world at that.
Of course.
But what we don't like to do is to, I mean, we live in a harsh, we're going to start at that. We live in a harsh community. And why should I validate as a child, your thoughts? You're going to school, you just have to get up and you have to go.
Like it or not,
you gotta go. Not knowing that for children, some of them need these soft, some need soft, some need the hard, some need the conversation, and some need nothing at all. So we have to validate them at where they are at.
I like that the little reading here said, check in with your child frequently and listen to their concerns. I have two boys, like I said in the beginning. One is very outgoing. That's the little one. He will make friends no matter where he is. The older one is very quiet. So I have to be very vigilant with him. You know, he's like I said, quiet. So I have to check in with him. Sean, what are you thinking about? You know, and then his answers would come. Or, you know, and when they answer, you listen. You listen and validate, like you said.
Communicate back with them.
Exactly. The next tip is to focus on what they can control. Focus on what they can control. All right, don't pressure the child. I mean, this pandemic time, I think it was a pressure for everyone. Remembering to put on your mask. So you even get charged if you never have on your mask. For those who get charged, my condolences. You'll have to remember to wash your hands. And even though it's something that should be the obvious to do, many of us, we weren't washing our hands. And so the pandemic kind of forced us to remember to wash your hands. Another thing we had to remember to do is social distance and all of that. So what can children control? What can children control?
You can give them a small little hand sanitizer and then give them a little prep talk. Okay, listen. Once you're touching this and you see everybody's touching that, you need to make sure you take the sanitizer out of your pocket and put it in. When you come home, what you can do is to refill it.
Yeah.
Right? Because you know that you need to have it for the next day. So they can control that. They can control what they have in their snacks. You know, maybe you can have them from the night before help pick the fruit that they would like to take with them. So those are small little things that children can control. Your mask, keep it on. Because if you don't, you stand a chance of catching the virus.
Yeah.
And then remind them, because children they want to play, but they would take their little precaution as well. Because some of them are afraid to get sick. Like, for example, I had my little cousin. She kept kissing the dog. And I said, you know what can happen to you when you kiss the dog? and I pull up a picture of some random, and I showed her it, and I said, "This is what's going to happen." It's not to scare her, but it was because the dog wasn't. It's not like us taking regular shower. It's outside in the yard, and where it's playing with the playing in the sun, and from under the sun comes the thick and the different things. And so I showed her the picture, and you think she kissed that dog after that?
Wow.
So children understand.
They do.
Okay, if this happened, this could happen. If I do this, this can happen.
Of course. And you could have done it in many other ways to create
Right.
fear, to create anxiety. You want to get if you don't put on your mask, you want to get COVID, or you want to get monkeypox, and big syrup come up on your skin. And that's
We don't
another
want
level.
that. We don't want that.
But thank God you use your wisdom to, present the information in a way where she couldn't understand, and she was able to make the right decisions
Right.
after that. No, so as parents, we have to try not to make not to build your child up with fear. You have some parents that the pressure is so heavy. If they could sit in the classroom, they would. But you have to give them time to grow and to learn. Time for them to be alone. That's the only way they would learn. Without you being there, especially when it comes to the classroom. When they're at home, it's a different thing. All right, moving along. Help your child feel prepared, and I think we talked about this a little bit. Creating routines. Have them assist with choosing footwear, or uniform is standard.
Right.
Snacks.
You got their socks.
Yes, socks, things like that. Help them to get prepared. And these are things that they learn that will take into a lifetime, into, forever. That routine doesn't stop when they get to high school. They do the same thing, so we are preparing them for life, basically. The next one, encourage overall physical health. Ensure that your child is getting enough sleep. Have he or she sleep when it's time. You have your bedtime hours and your waking up hours. Don't have your child up till 10 o'clock and expect him or her to be waking up at 6, 7 o'clock to be ready for school. We parents are to blame. Cut off. My routine when I get home in the evening, you first thing you do, wash your hand. You take your shoe off, wash your hand. From there, you prep to take your bath, and then we have supper, and then from there you watch a little movie. Give that food time to go down, drink up a milk, and that's your cue, bedtime coming up.
Right.
So routines. I love routines because it keeps everything in order, and it helps the kid to carry on. It's early in the morning. Pack something. They want to get hungry.
Yep.
They will.
will.
So pack something, make something, whatever you can do. We're not expecting the world here because this is the reality.
Yep.
Sometimes you didn't have time to make nothing in the morning. It's just to put together a sandwich and go. This is the real world. But put together a little sandwich, put it in a bag or whatever, foil, put it in the lunch bag. They will eat it because they will get hungry. Don't ever send them off without something in a bag. even if they have money. I always
Even
have,
me pack a snack when I
of course.
when I go somewhere. Why? Because I know that I'm going to get vacation. So when I get vacation, I would want to eat something.
Yes, yes. I like this one. It says teach stress reducing activities. How can we teach our kids stress reducing activities? They're at school, they feel anxious. How they could help themselves? When the counselor is busy, the teacher is busy, how can they help themselves?
Breaths out. Breaths always work. Breathe in, breathe out. Have the routine of, breathing. If there's a breathing exercise, and you breathe in and you breathe out and you breathe in and you do that couple
walk
times.
me through it. I'm feeling anxious at this time.
Well,
teacher, I feel anxious at this time. Fred, I'm busy right now. I'll talk to you in a minute.
Well, being busy, then you have to tell them, okay, Chantel, you're being anxious. Take a breath. Breathe in. And then breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. You have to clear your mind. Think happy thoughts. Where would you like to be right now?
What to do?
In your bed, on the beach. Think about the beach. Breathe in. And you breathe out. You will start. Your brain will make you start smell the smell of
there's something about the power of fresh air.
And so doing that can reduce it right away.
Yeah.
But it makes you stop, makes you pause, and it makes you reflect. And so once you're in that moment where you're calm and relaxed, you start to feel a little bit okay.
Yeah.
And then you can wait until you can be able to see the counselor.
Okay, wonderful. Support hobbies. Encourage your child to do more of what they most enjoy, whether reading, playing outside, or other activities. And this is a good one.
Right.
It's not a classroom situation,
Right.
but to help them minimize their little anxiety, it's good to incorporate extracurricular activities. My little one, he likes to draw. So he would spend time drawing, the other one likes to dance. So that's another level that a discussion. But I like that it says support hobbies. Next one, resist the urge to rescue your child socially. This is deep for me. Why should we resist? Why should parents resist? That's what the Lord have us here for. We're here to catch them when they fall.
Right,
and
but
to
not always
brush
like
off their
that.
little knees and to...
If you constantly rescue your child when they're falling, when they get older and get into a situation and they need rescuing, you can't come on and work on rescue them. So they need to not have that too much dependency on your help, because later on they're going to seek for that.
Yeah.
And then they will go through situation. We get into a bad situation. They will always think that, okay, mommy will help me get through that. And when that is not always the situation, conflict resolution, they have to figure it on their own at times.
Wow.
And those small little things help them to be able to go through those moments.
So even parents have moments. They have moments where you have that parent that is at that window,
right,
or quit their job to be able to.
Right.
I mean,
it creates a dependency, and then the child don't move away from their parents.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, that's a lesson for me. Next one, as we're wrapping up today's show, is to show encouragement and celebrate the wins.
We not always have we like when we spank them. So when they do something wrong, we spank them. When they do something good, we not always rejoice.
Yeah.
And so we need to get into this. You don't have to give them a reward for it, but you can jump and scream and say, yay! Make them feel like they have done something good. I know that you don't want to, for example, my nephew, when he say, hey, apple, we clap. And so every time he's looking forward for us to clap, but no, after a while, when you say a apple, it's now for your own understanding. You can clap for yourself at that point in time. But we need to celebrate them. We need to celebrate children.
Definitely. I think celebrating your kids would definitely minimize anxiety.
Yes.
You know, going back to that one we talked about rescuing, that would minimize as well, because you don't have a mom that is, or a dad that's always there to rescue you. So you don't become anxious when they're not around. You know, you have kids that, you know, become anxious when they're not there, and what am I do because my mom isn't here, my dad isn't here. You know, so we have to get them used to speaking to the teacher or speaking to the counselor or figuring it out.
Yeah.
Basically, right? Yeah. So the final one, as we are wrapping up, seek mental health and support if needed. And this is where the counselor comes in.
Right. Encourage your kids to come to the counselor.
Of course. And
even if they go to their teachers first and say, I would like to go to the counselor because I'm not feeling well, or I mean not sick, but when they feel like their anxiety is coming on, because they want to know that somebody will be there for them.
Definitely. Explain to your kids that while you're not there, the teacher is in charge, and the teacher is like your mom, you know, basically at school. So you can talk to him or her,
right.
You know, don't feel anxious to go to your teacher. So, Miss Aislinn, I want for you to speak to that parent who may be anxious at home this morning about sending their little ones to school, or speak to the teacher who might be anxious about that class of 25 kids for next week and they don't know how they're going to cope. Speak to them this morning. Let them, you know, feel comforted knowing that, you know, it's okay to be anxious, and counselor is there to help.
I won't say that it's not hard. I won't say that it would be even easy. And I won't say that everything will be all right. But to know that there's support and that you have people in your corner, you will be able to make it through. Just ask for the help, just like we would like for the children to ask for help. Just ask for the help and trust and believe that somebody will be in your corner. I mean, I'm going to be there, so you can ask me. And parents that are anxious, the Bible reminds us to not be anxious about anything, but put our trust and faith in Him, and He will see you through.
Amen. Perfect way to end the show for this morning. We want to thank you so much for staying with us to the end. Another wonderful discussion here on defining your health. And we can't leave without thanking our guests for gracing us with her presence. I want to encourage you as well, Miss Aislinn, as you're getting ready to go back to school next week, along with the others, to just do your best as a counselor to be very vigilant and to always remember that you're there for a reason, for a purpose. And we know you want to exceed your purpose as you're an overachiever, no?
Thank you.
So we're thankful for your service.
Thanks for having me.
And with that, we end our show for today. Again, been your host, Chantel, here on Defining Your Health. With that, we say God bless.
As a non-profit organization, the Adventist Television Network solely relies on your financial support. By partnering with us through a monthly donation, you will help us to continue to fulfill the mission in taking the gospel into all the world. For more information, please call 613-9351 or email us at atnfin@cbm.belizeunion.org. Thank you for your prayers and support of the ATN ministry, and together we may hasten the soon coming of our Lord Jesus Christ.